Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and I want to say that first, to get this out of the way, this is not clickbait. This is actually what is the most important thing that you need to keep these guys, which is my 2008 Honda Ridgeline, the truck, running. So without keeping you in total suspense, it is an oil change, and that is probably paramount to keeping you driving and not walking. So today I'm going to show you a few tips and tricks and just the basics on changing your oil. You don't have to have this 2008 Honda Ridgeline again, but it will help because the fluids and all that will be specific to this vehicle. But like I said, this is just going to be a general walkthrough of what you need and how to do it properly. So I'm going to go ahead and start with warming this baby up, because if you don't warm it up, then you're not going to get all the fluid out of it that you need to, because it won't be warm enough, and it's going to be all chunky and it's not going to come out. So like I said, I'm going to hop in the truck, warm it up, get it up to that operating temperature where the normal operating temperature where it's supposed to be, and then I'm going to come back and we'll get to it. So stay tuned. Alright guys, I'm back and the vehicle is primed and ready to go, which means we've got it in the normal operating temperature. So we are ready to drain that oil. So I'm going to show you a quick list of what we need to have, and then I will get underneath the vehicle and do the draining. All right, let's get to it. The first thing you're going to need is yourself. And this is absolutely the most important thing, because this is going to save you dollar signs when it comes to doing this. And anybody can do this. And I want to save you money, because if you're like me, you don't have very much. So that is number one. Okay, and the next step is safety. You're going to need safety glasses, because just in case you're underneath there and oil's dripping down, you don't want it in your eyeballs. Then we have the all-important gloves, because sometimes this stuff might absorb into your skin and it could cause cancer later on in life. So definitely it's worth investing in some latex gloves and not getting that stuff on your skin. Okay, and then we have the all-important wrench, which this is a metric and number 17, and that's specific to my vehicle, which is the 2008 Honda Ridgeline, but it might be a little different for yours. And all you have to do is get underneath there and check to see if that fits. Then you're going to need, in my specific case, this is called a crush ring, which is basically, it goes on the oil plug itself after you take the oil plug off. And Honda likes these little things so it doesn't leak. Your vehicle might not have these on here. It might just have a rubber washer that comes off with the oil plug, and in that case just use the rubber washer itself and you'll be fine. But Honda, they like you to replace these every time you do your oil change. Okay, and the next step is you're going to need a catch basin. And the catch basin is obviously like what it says. It's going to catch the oil and make sure it doesn't get all over the ground. Then you're going to need the spout, and this is, or funnel, and this is going to be just in case you don't want to get it all over your nice pretty floors. This is going to help, or your engine. Then the all-important fluid, and I am not sponsored by these people, and you can use whatever product you'd like. Like I said, this saves you money, and this isn't the most expensive stuff in the world, but it is very good, and it comes with this little guy right here, which is the API SN Plus, which means this goes above and beyond standards with this little plus sign. And so this means this is very good oil to use. And my specific oil needs, or weight needs, 5W20. So that's the oil that I'm using. And then I'm going to be using this SuperTech filter, and yes, it's the cheaper one, but like I said, this is going to save you money, and you guys can, or gals can, go more expensive with something else like a Wix filter if you want. I just use the cheaper one because these are actually really decent. I've done some research. They're going to give you plenty of protection that you need at a very, very reasonable price. And like I said, this is the whole reason why we're doing this video, so you save some money and you don't do it wrong. So like I said, you can use this and it'll be just fine. And you also want a level working surface, so when you top off your fluids or check your fluids or fill up the oil pan, you get an accurate reading every time. All right, now we can finally get to what we all been waiting for, and the all-important first step: pop your hood. Then lift your hood up. Then locate the oil drain cap, which mine is right here, and open that up and take that off and set that aside, because you want this open so that when you take the drain plug underneath off, it allows the air to go through and drain everything that's left in the engine and the oil pan itself without it being stopped by this cap up here and no airflow. And what I'd like to do also, as a quick note, is check the dipstick real fast just to see where the level's at and make sure that there was oil in it before you took it out. Now it's time to grab your catch basin and go underneath your vehicle. And I have a towel underneath her so I don't get dirty. Oh no. But it's time to go underneath your vehicle. Excuse the craziness here, but locate your oil pan. Mine's right here. And then your oil plug. And actually, mine says it right here. I don't know if you can read that, but it says engine oil, and it points to the oil plug right there. That's what I have to take off, is right there. So let me do that and see if I can do this with one hand. My wrench, and of course righty tighty, lefty loosey. Okay, that is off. I have my oil pan right there, ready to catch everything. And then I'm gonna, of course my gloves are on, and I'm gonna slowly undo this. And then it's alright if it falls down into the pan itself, the oil plug, because at least it's contained right there. And you slowly go, and boom, she is flowing. So I'm going to let that fully go out, and then I will check back with you later, because I want to make sure that all that is gone from the pan. And that means that all that sludgy stuff is all good to go. And then I will show you the next step, which is going to be taking this guy, which is my oil filter, and I'm going to be unscrewing that and taking that off. But I can't do that right this second, because I need the catch basin underneath this, because there is going to be oil that's going to come out of that. So we're going to have to wait for that step here, and I'll show you in just a second. Alright, it's finally stopped dripping. I got the oil plug out of there, made sure it was all nice and clean and good looking, took the old crush washer off, put the new one back on, and now it's time to put that back in the oil pan itself. And I'm not going to show you that because I already showed you getting out of there. It's the same process putting it back in, no big deal. Then we're going to move the catch basin over and take out the oil filter. And to take out the oil filter, I forgot to tell you guys, you might need an oil wrench, which is this guy right here. And that's because sometimes people put these in so tight that they need a wrench to get off. In the instructions, and in the case of mine, all you need to do is, it's lefty loosey, righty tighty. So you just unscrew it, and mine has been put on hand tight and a quarter turn after that. So I'm able to get it off with my bare hands. But you, like I said, you might need this because they put on those things like they're Superman. So when you go to put these back on, my whole point is make sure that you do it like they say in the instructions, which is hand tight, just till you feel it get tight, and then one more quarter turn after that to get it a real good seat on there. But let's take this off. All right, sorry, it's gonna be a little juggly here because I'm doing this with one hand. Yeah, see, mine's a little tight, but I can still turn it, there we go, with one hand. And of course, this is gonna be messy too. Oh, see, it's starting to leak. Good thing I got my gloves on. And I let it go. I don't unscrew it all the way because then it's gonna plop off and fall into your catch basin there. But I let it drain just a little bit, then slowly keep unscrewing it, making sure that it's drained enough. And then one of these days it's going to come off in my hand, hopefully, and not into the bucket there. There we go. Oh, and yeah, she's messy. So I'm gonna... Ooh, I almost lost it. Drip it down there. And then set her down. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to put her in there for right now, because I only have one hand. So make sure you clean up all around here, because I spilled a whole bunch. You don't want this going traveling back when you're driving. So just make sure that you clean up everything to make it all nice and good there. Okay, I made sure all the surfaces were clean, especially where the new filter is going to go up into the engine. I made sure that that was all clean in there, that surface, because you want this to made up to a nice clean surface. And you see there's a little rubber gasket on this guy right here. You want to make sure that the old one, the old gasket, that gasket stayed on the old filter and not on the surface on the engine itself, because this new filter has a gasket on here also, and this is the gasket you want to use. Obviously you don't want to use the old one, and if the old one stays on the surface on the engine, then you're going to have two gaskets, and that's going to make this not made up very good. So just when you take your old one out, make sure that the gasket stays with the filter, and you'll be just fine. So when you're ready to put the new one in, grab your filter, grab your new oil, open it up, put your finger down in there, make sure it's clean obviously, grab a little bit of oil on your finger, and go to the new filter gasket and just wipe around the gasket with the oil, and the new oil, and that's going to make sure that this gasket stays on here, makes a nice even mating surface, and it will come off when you go to take the filter off the next time. So I've ensured that my surface is free and clear of all the grodies, and let me point to it. The
filter is, or the gasket is off, and now it's time to install. So I'm going to put it up there, and then just gently turn, and keep turning until I finally get to a point where it is hand tight, which is right there. And then I'm going to get my other glove on, because I only have one glove on here, and I'm going to go over there and do another quarter of a turn and make sure that that is really seated with two hands, and that will be tight enough.
All right, now we finally get to the fun part, and we get off of our backs and we get to fill up the engine oil. Yay! Okay, so what you want to do is go in and check your engine manual, or your owner's manual, excuse me, and see how much it takes to fill this bad boy up, how many quarts, and then come back, fill your engine oil into the reservoir here, and fill it up just enough to make it come up on your dipstick here. So you want it between here and here. This is the high mark, this is the low mark. Your dipstick might be a little different, but they're basically all the same. They got the hash marks at here, and this is where you want it to be, in between here. Higher is no good, and lower is no good. So somewhere in between here, I like to keep mine just about up to the high mark. That way I know that there's going to be enough oil in there to make me feel satisfied, but not too much. And then you know, sometimes your engine uses a little bit of oil, and that's why I don't like it to keep it down here, because if it drops below, that's, like I said, that's a bad thing too. So I like to keep it just about right up here. So once you find out that your level gets up to here, then you're going to go into your vehicle and start her up, and it's going to cycle through. And what that's going to accomplish is your engine filter right now has no oil in it, and so it's not going to give you an accurate reading. This reading of full is not going to be an accurate reading, because, like I said, that filter is not filled all the way. So running the engine and getting it to the normal operating temperature again, and then coming out here and checking it, it will read low. So you're going to have to come out here and fill it up to the mark again after you have started your vehicle and got it up to the normal operating temperature. And then once you get it to the correct spot again, up to here, or wherever you'd like, whatever you feel more comfortable with, then put the dipstick back in, start up the vehicle, get it up to normal operating temperature again, and then shut her down, come out and test it again and see where it's at. And that will be your true reading there, because then all the oil will have cycled all throughout the filter and all that. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then show you what it looks like on my dipstick, and then we are done. All right, guys, the last steps are, I've let the engine cool. I'm going to take the dipstick out. Oh, if I can grab it. Okay, show you the reading. And I know it's hard to see, but it's going to be right up about right here where my thumbnail is. And it's very hard to see. I'll try to rotate it a little bit, but you can see almost all the way to the top there. And that's after it's cooled and it's cycled through the filter and everything. And that's what you want. Oh, there we go. There's a much better picture. That's what you want. So when you're done with that, you can stick your dipstick back in, and then make sure that your oil fill cap is nice and tight. Everything is all wiped down and good to go. Make sure that underneath your vehicle nothing is leaking. You looked at your drain plug, make sure that that wasn't leaking. You looked at your filter, made sure that that wasn't leaking. There's no spots down here. Then you're good to go. Then take your old filter, put it in your box or wherever you want, because it's going to get thrown away unless you want to frame it and put it on your wall. Just joking. Then your old oil. Then with your old plastic container, you can go ahead and drain that into there, and then take this and dispose of it at your local dump or your auto parts store, anywhere where they accept this used motor oil, because you don't want to put it on the ground, because that's not nice for our environment. Okay, and in some cars, like this 2008 Honda Ridgeline, you're gonna have to reset the oil life in this, and the way to do that is grab your keys, bingo, put them in the ignition, and turn it to the on to, which is this right here, so you get your display on here. Then go to your button and hit select. Oh, shut that off. Hit select until it goes to the oil life. Then you're going to hold the reset button down for 10 seconds. So let's do that. And while you're holding that down, after that 10-second mark, it'll pop up maintenance reset. So then you go over and hit select again, which is up there, select, and it says either yes or no. You hit reset and you hold reset until it goes to 100% oil life, and then you're good to go. Then you can hit select and go about your business, because it's at 100% oil life. Thanks a bunch, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.